Alright everyone, welcome to lecture 6 in the series entitled The Lie of Limited Liability. So, in a previous lecture, we set the foundation. A company is a separate legal entity. It is not you. It's a different legal person in the eyes of the law. Okay, registering a company you can think of like giving birth to a baby. There is this new separate legal thing in the world now. Limited liability is just the consequence of that separation. If the company owes money, then the company owes the money, not you personally. That's the shield or the legal barrier that you'll hear people refer to. But there's a catch. Limited liability is conditional. It protects you, yes, but only if you treat the company like a real separate thing. It's not your personal bank account. It's the company's bank account. The company is not your personal mouthpiece. So, limited liability is conditional. Too often, business people, founders, they'll misunderstand the legal conditions. So, this lecture explains how the protection actually works in practice and how, too often, people will quietly dismantle this protection themselves, often unknowingly. Alright, to be clear, limited liability is real. Yes, it's a real thing. It's not a scam, it's not fake, right? But it is conditional. So, conditional on what? What is limited liability conditional on, you ask? Good question. So, limited liability is conditional on you actually acting and behaving like the company is separate from you. Separate money, separate decisions, proper authority, no personal promises or guarantees, right? They all collapse the wall, or they whittle away at the protective shield over time. Founders and business people and entrepreneurs will often think limited liability is like a switch, right? Like it's binary. I have a company, therefore I'm protected. I don't have a company, therefore my personal assets are exposed. But that's not how it works in practice. Limited liability is more like a wall or a shield. And the shield will get thinner over time the more control you exercise and the more shortcuts you take day to day through your actions and behaviors. So let's go into a basic example and we'll make it concrete, like we always do, right? So we will set up a basic LLC, right? We'll call it Alpha Trading. It's a basic trading company, an LLC. Our second economic actor is a natural person here. The Russian oligarch is back. Ownership, benefit, control. We will set up the legal scenario with the economic actors, as we always do. Two economic actors, a natural person and a company, right? Separate from each other. This company has title in the name of, actually I'm not going to write all these, you've got the point by now. Title in the name of. If you don't have the point by now, then please go back and watch the previous lectures. All this stuff has been covered ad nauseum. The knowledge builds on itself. O, ownership, title is 100% shares by this founder. Benefit is with this founder. And sole director, sole managing director is this founder. Ownership, benefit, control, it's his company entirely, clearly. It's a basic trading company LLC, Alpha Trading LLC. That's the setup so far. So, all right, so he's the sole shareholder, sole director, sole beneficiary. Why did he set up this LLC? To do his trading of, let's say, digital cameras on Amazon and Alibaba, right? Well, if the business fails, he doesn't want to get destroyed personally. He wants his personal assets protected behind this shield. That's fine. That's normal. Okay. So he starts trading digital cameras on Amazon and Alibaba. The first few months go great. He opens a bank account successfully. The invoices are going out in the company name. Customers are paying the company bank account. Supply contracts are signed by him in his control position, but the supply contracts are clearly to supply the company, not him. Okay, so far so good. The wall is strong and the wall is intact. Now, what do we always do in our scenarios? We set up an external stress event. Right, so we got our stress event. Okay, in this case, we will have a supplier of digital cameras wherever in, I don't know, Taiwan, say, right? So this is the supplier warehouse. This is the supplier, right? And the supplier is not so sure about this company. So they say, look, we'll only ship you these cameras if someone personally guarantees the payment. They don't want a letter of credit. They're not happy with a small deposit and then the balance on the arrival of the container of cameras. They want a personal guarantee. What does the founder say? He doesn't think about it much. It's just a formality, right? He signs it. He needs the stock. So he signs this one-page basic guarantee. It might say, I, Mr. Founder, personally guarantee all obligations of Alpha Trading, LLC, right? This is the moment now where the company owes money and he and his assets are personally standing behind what it owes. This is the moment. The wall gets bypassed, right? 6 months later, business is slowing down. It's not going so great. It's a trading business. It happens. Cash is getting tight. Supplier invoices are starting to stack up, right? The company cannot pay the supplier anymore. There's simply no cash. So what does the supplier do? Well, he does what all good suppliers do. He sues, right? Founder's sitting here. He's thinking to himself, all right, I've got a limited liability company. That's the whole point. My personal liability is limited. Yep, sure. Supplier's lawyer has a different idea. He says, that's right. We sued the company. But guess what? We also sued you personally as well. Why? Because you signed the personal guarantee. So, very basic example, guys. What happened here? No fraud, nothing fancy. There's no complicated legal theory or concepts here. There was just one signature that created a second legal pathway. The company owes money, and then the founder also owes money. The limited liability is not what failed here. He stepped outside of the bounds of it. So again, limited liability is conditional on you acting and behaving in a way that keeps this wall intact. So what could this founder have done instead? Well, lots of things. He could have asked his lawyer for options and risks. Could have capped the guarantee according to an amount or some time period. Could have used the inventory of the LLC to provide a guarantee in his control, right? So the LLC itself could have provided a guarantee to the supplier backed up by the LLC's inventory. Then he would sign it as the controlling party of the LLC, but it's the LLC that provides the guarantee, and it's backed up by the value of the inventory it has in its warehouse that it owns. There are many, many options, right? What did we remember from the last lecture? How do we talk to our lawyer in the beginning about this? You don't say, is it legal for me to provide a personal guarantee, right? That's a pointless question. You would say something like, under what facts and circumstances can the company provide a guarantee to the supplier? That's a better question. Your lawyer can go away and do their work. And guess what? They can come up with a whole bunch of what are lawyers meant to do? Provide options. Options and risks, a whole bunch of them. There are many in this boring, very simple scenario. So the lawyer would come back with a series of options and risks that would preserve this wall and preserve this founder's personal assets. The myth generally is that the company is a separate legal person so I can't be personally responsible. Right, this is technically true, but it's practically meaningless and misleading, right? And we deal with practicalities here. Remember, we're all about practical legal education for business people and entrepreneurs to help them keep their money. The law does not promise you can do whatever you want and then hide behind this company and this wall, right? What the law says is, if you respect the separation, then the law will also respect the separation. So, limited liability does not mean no responsibility, no risk, and no consequences. Limited liability means your personal exposure, your personal asset exposure is limited if you behave consistently with the structure and with the foundational legal concept that we've explained. All right, we should write it out so we can drill it into your fat heads. Limited liability, LL, right, does not equal what, right? It does not equal immunity, right? It's not magic, right? Limited liability does not equal immunity. Get that into your heads. So some other basic examples for this founder. If they ignore governance or they treat company money as personal money in a repeated pattern over time, or they override processes when it's not convenient for them in a repeated pattern over time, then when there's an external stress event, the law will start to ask, is this actually really separate, right? If you blur company affairs long enough, then this shield will stop protecting you, right? Limited liability depends on clear boundaries. So, for example, when the money starts running out here, the focus shifts, right? The law stops caring about shareholders and it starts really caring about the creditors. Limited liability then whittles away. This wall gets thinner and weaker under the stress. So here's the rub. Smart people often lose limited liability because they're smart, because they're capable. This is very common. They'll step in, they'll fix things, they'll override processes. The law is not a video game, guys. Remember, the law is not fooled by labels or titles. It follows behavior. It cares about how you act over time, day to day. If you act like the company is you, the law will agree under a stress event. What limited liability requires is actually quite simple. If you want to maintain the integrity and strength of this separation, of this protective wall or shield, right, you need clean roles. That's the first thing. You need clear authority. You need documented decisions, and you need separated money, okay? You must behave as if the separation matters, because it does. Here's the core truth, the core takeaway from this lecture. Limited liability you can think of as a deal. It's a deal between you and the legal system. If you break the deal slowly, casually, informally, over time, the protection will erode quietly, okay? Limited liability typically isn't lost in one moment. It is eroded slowly over time.